principles of Bert Hellinger.
Yes.
So thank you, Emily, for this invitation and for setting all this up. I really appreciate that.
I'm so
and I appreciate this opportunity for us to do something together, like, you know, from different parts of the world. Wonderful.
Yes. Yes, me too. Yeah, so I'm Emily Waymeyer, and less experience than Alemka, actually. So, right, I probably met and started working with Bert Hellinger about, I'd say about 18 years ago. And he is so deeply embedded in my heart and his teachings. And so, honestly, for years, I meant to get a hold of Alemka and kind of on Facebook, and we would chat. And I'm one of those people who reads every single thing she posts because she's brilliant. And because we both resonate so much with these teachings in such a deep way. But it's interesting, Alemka, because I feel kind of like I want to share, because it actually has to do with our topic today, that the timing of when I contacted you was really no mistake. And it's after COVID started to get, and our country and where I live started to be in lockdown. And it was, honestly, it moved through me to contact you at that time. It was not a good time logistically. As you recall, the video didn't even work, and I didn't know how to do this a few weeks ago, and it kept cutting out because the internet was so bad because of the crisis and everyone being online. But truly, it has been about the need to, and this is one of the things I think you'll talk about, but the need to connect with others who have a very genuine connection to this deeper vein of understanding, right, that we'll be talking about today. And that's why it came to me to name it a deeper vein, because there are those of us who are able to stabilize in and tap into that deeper place, which our teacher, that's what he taught, you know, and therefore really stabilize in times of crisis. And so for me, it was honestly a reaching out to you as someone, I mean, more than just like-minded, right? But someone I knew immediately I could connect with, and there would be a support right there without even having to talk about it, really, you know? Yeah.
Yes, well, it is clear that that we live in some very strange times, I could say. Some very important shifts are happening, and we can't always know what it's about, and we can't always understand everything. But I think it is clear to everyone that these are extraordinary times. So I think we can talk about collective crisis. We can call it crisis, although I don't quite like that word. It's already naming it, or naming the current situation as something negative. It's got a negative connotation about it. So it is some kind of a collective crisis, and I think a lot of us also experience it on individual level. So it's affecting us individually. I know it is affecting me, and I have heard from many others that they are being affected and that they are going through some very deep transformational personal processes at this point in time.
Yeah.
So it seems that this situation or this crisis is being reflective, you know, from collective to the individual.
Yeah.
And like, so what to do with it, and what can we do about it, and how do we handle it, and how do we travel through it? Of course, there are many different viewpoints, but it seems to me that constellation work and the teachings of Bert Hellinger have got a lot to offer to each and every one of us in this situation and at this point in time. And therefore, I don't think it's accidental, as you say, that we made this connection and that we found this need to connect through this teaching and to have these conversations and to offer it online. Offer it publicly for people to follow, because I think it's needed, and I think it's helpful, and it's got it's got a lot to offer us, especially at this point in time. So there are many systemic principles which are part of this systemic constellation teachings, overall teachings, that really can be helpful and support us in this time. So I really wanted us, and we both agree that that will be a great topic to have a conversation about and see what are some of these principles and how we can rely on them, or how we can apply them in our lives now, to
Yes. Yes.
So these are some of the things that we will be talking about, seeing, okay, what the systemic principles are, talk a bit about them, and see what relevance they could possibly have, and how they could support us individually and collectively through this time. But first, you are going to guide us through a bit of a meditation, so that we can all sink a bit deeper, and that we can then continue.
Yeah.
Our
perfect. Yeah. We thought it. Yes. So we thought it would be really good to just start with a meditation, and I start actually really all my groups this way, so we can sink in, we can get back in our bodies, especially under times of stress. And also this meditation shows what Alemka and what our teacher Hellinger, actually this is a meditation from him, but exactly what you were just saying, right? That this is a very clear time where the collective and personal are overlapping and coming together in such a clear way. So just if you want to shut your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Just really let your attention land all the way in your body. Good, and just keep bringing your attention back to your body and feeling your body throughout this meditation. And so, of course, we can notice that in front of us, around us, there is this crisis, and this global crisis, if you will, to use that word. That's how many experience it. Situation. A situation that requires our attention. So just notice how that feels in your body. And then go ahead and allow your parents to come stand behind you. And then your grandparents, your parents' parents. And even if that's all we did, just feel what happens in your body. Feel what happens in relationship to the situation or the stressful experience in front of you. And then allow in your great-grandparents, all of your grandparents' parents just lining up behind you. and then all of their parents. All the way back. Feeling all the generations, all the way back. And again, always checking in with your breath and your body. What happens when you allow parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, all the way back to the beginning? And you can notice how, as you bring them in, as you allow them in, because they're always here, that all of their histories, all of their stories are also there with them. And yet what remains the same to all of them is that they received life and passed it on. And then received life and passed it on. All the way down to us. Our parents received life and passed it on. All the way down to us. And if we have children, we've received life as well and we've passed it on. But also in front of us, we can put our purpose, our children and our purpose. And what does it mean then? Now, what does it mean to have a conflict or a distressing situation or something that needs care and our attention, or a crisis, if we call it that, in front of us? How does it change our relationship to that when we have all of this at our back? And we can see how all of these people that our life depends on so that we could be here, we can see that all of these people lived through their own story, their own challenges, came up with their own solutions, found resolutions, had their own strength and a special dignity in carrying their own fate. And in that way, we can also see and feel the fate of this larger situation in front of us. We can see and feel the fate of our planet and of our species right now. So just check again with your body, feel your body and your breath. And feel what's different for you when you bring in generations of support and resilience and dignity. What becomes possible then and how we meet the challenges in our life. And then just take a moment to feel that. Just noticing the difference in how you feel. Mm. Good. And then take a deep breath, and you can stay in that space. You're welcome to stay in that space, or as Alemka and I move forward, you can bring your attention here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Emily.
Mm.
Yeah, immediately I feel more grounded, and I feel more supported, and I feel like as you were progressing with meditation, I was straightening up. So there was just this immediate effect in my body of straightening up.
Mm.
And as you took us through this visualization, you basically demonstrated a lot of these systemic principles that we apply in our work in constellations, and which are helpful and can be a resource for us.
Yes.
Yeah, we always, I mean, start with here and now, and we start with our bodies and how we feel in our bodies. We acknowledge what is. So constellations are so much about acknowledging where we are at and what is, and a step further, accepting also what is, saying yes to what is. And no matter the circumstances. Yeah? So this acceptance of what is, and acceptance of this passing of life from generations back to now, and accepting our life at the cost that we had to pay for it, with all this, including all the circumstances. So this is one of the very important systemic principles, and this is often what we do in constellation work. That is often the most important step or intervention to actually arrive into our life fully, to feel the passing of life from way beyond to us, and to actually say yes to it. That can be all of the work, and it can make all of the difference. Yeah, just that aspect. Yes, you agree?
Absolutely. I share all the time with people that one of the most important movements, if not the movement, is naming what is. It's just naming what is, and how much movement that creates, and how much support that brings in just that.
Yes, yeah, and if we are fearful, yeah, we say yes. Right now I'm fearful, or right now I'm stressed out, or right now I'm struggling with this or that in my life, and just naming actually makes a difference. But we don't have this intention to make a difference. We don't do anything with the intention to change anything. That is a really wonderful aspect of the work as well, yes. Which is through this acknowledging what is, through accepting everything the way it is or it has been. That really strengthens us, not us trying to change something, trying to get out of the crisis, trying to heal, trying not to be fearful, trying to, personally grow. When we usually try to change something, to,
right.
Yeah, even healing, like I want to heal from this, past trauma or whatever. There's too much intention, and it is really not saying yes to everything the way it happened and the way it is happening now. Yes. So I think this is another learning from constellation work, which is so important, which tells us, yes, stay with what is. And I think this applies a great deal to the current situation. So we don't, we acknowledge, we name, we stay with what is. In in that, there's also, that takes us to another principle of constellation work, which is also this realization that we don't always have full control, not even what happens to us and in our own lives, and let alone control of some bigger movements or bigger big scale events. So through constellation work, we came to realize and came to acknowledge that there are some greater forces which work in our lives, which work in our relationships, and which also work and operate throughout the cosmos, we could say. So it's not, we have learned that it's not all up to us. Yeah? So there is this also the element of surrender to to the greater forces of life which work through us. Yeah. So there's something also about acknowledging our smallness in that regard, or being humble in terms of forces of life and death, and how it all happens and how it all works. We often don't understand and cannot understand everything about it, and can't change things about it. So actually there's some great relief and peace which comes with the acknowledgement of that. Okay, yes, I cannot understand everything, and it's not all up to me. So I surrender, and I say yes to everything that happens, and I just am a participant in life. Yes, full participant in life, but I'm not in charge.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Absolutely. I would love you to expand for 10 hours on every single one of those.
Yeah, well, we could certainly talk for 10 hours about each one of these principles, yes. But I want to just briefly mention a few of them, because we see how these principles, or how these aspects of really be helpful, I think, to us personally in this situation. I think we can all make these connections.
Alemka, just say that last couple of sentences one more time, because you broke up, and I think people need to hear it.
Okay, I will speak slower then. What did I say?
I couldn't hear you either, but just that last, I think you were just saying that having this systemic understanding and this larger view is what can help people right now.
Yes, and I think we can all feel how these systemic principles, how they are applicable, how we can apply them, how they are relevant to our situation right now, both individually and collectively. And let me just see, I made a few notes about a few others that I want to mention. Yes, this is a very important one, and yeah, maybe I don't talk about too many of them today, because we want also to maybe leave time for questions if people want to make some comments or ask some questions. But I did want to mention this one aspect of constellation work and of constellation teachings, one systemic principle, which we could call the systemic principle of radical inclusion. So what is that about? It's really about continuing with this same movement of acknowledging what is, accepting everything the way it happens, accepting that we don't have a control, and actually just observing the phenomena of life as they happen, without judgment, without saying, this is good, or this is bad, or this crisis is really terrible, or this pandemic is just awful, oh, I feel fearful and this is really bad. I want to get rid of this fear. So we just operate within these judgments of polarities and good and bad all the time. And then we want to get rid of what's bad or negative or unpleasant. We want to not have it in our life. Yeah? That's only human. And yet what we have learned through constellation work is that we can't be at peace if we do that, and we can't be healthy and successful if we do that, if we behave in that way. So the best way to living happy lives and successful lives and healthy lives is actually not to fall into that trap and to just surrender ourselves to life the way it happens without making a judgment about it. Yeah?
Yes.
So we might see that this, what we call crisis now, and what really feels bad, it might turn that it's not so bad, and we are already seeing many aspects, many good aspects of it. Yeah. So it's also about realizing that we are too small, as I said before, to understand and to make this judgment what is good or bad. We can't really know. Yes, so this is another learning from systemic constellation work. And we also know that as soon as we want to get rid of this negative aspect, yeah, it comes to dominate our lives. Yeah?
Yes.
So it comes up, it's our shadow then that we can't get rid of, and it keeps going after us wherever we go. It comes behind us. And I think it's especially at this time that our shadows are coming out of the shadows, or that really we are individually and collectively, that we are forced to face our shadows at this point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see that.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, I see that so strongly. And every exact point you're making, I see, and it is just so accurate to me. And truly the profound opportunity of this time. And I mean that so genuinely, not in some spiritually bypassing way, right? The people's shadows and old material is being pushed to the surface right now. And what a beautiful opportunity to directly make contact with that, right? And we can only directly make contact with something if we're not judging it. Because as soon as we judge, as you say, immediately there's something between us and clear seeing, clear perception.
Yes, and then it becomes another shadow, you know. So in a sense, we have to accept our shadows as well and say yes to them. That is the only way of dealing with the shadow in a productive, helpful way. Yes. So we can't exclude anything. We know that, again, from constellation work, and that's very important. Another very important systemic principle: we cannot know what is good or bad, and secondly, we cannot exclude anything, because it all then gets included through the back door. So if this is a learning or a lesson that the whole humanity maybe, or good portion of it learns through this opportunity of a crisis, then it's amazing. Then I think it would be really useful for all of us.
Oh yes. The possibility here is huge. The potential is huge, and you can feel that in the field. We were talking about those larger fields or forces, and I can feel that palpably in the field, the knowing field right now. this is always true, but again, in the same way that shadows are being pushed up, so is the knowing field, so is the intelligence of that field. It's tangible right now for people. And I know so many people, and every person I'm talking, friend, client, it doesn't matter, colleague, it doesn't matter, right? It's, there's something so palpable right now. And in many ways that makes it easier, ironically, right? When we can feel something so directly and it's palpable and visceral, we can work with it. We can be with it, right? Versus these other times of our life where we're kind of just going along as is, you know? So yeah.
Yes, and I think it's also true to say that all of us who are familiar with constellation work and who do it, you know, maybe on a daily basis, that we have been more familiar with some of these principles and with some of these processes through the nature of the work, because we have been learning about it and we have been exposed to these forces and the knowing field, and
Alemka, I'm gonna stop you for a second because you just broke up for those last few sentences. And I know from our last video, when that happens, I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't want to miss a thing. And so can you just go back 4 or 5 sentences?
Yes, the point I was going to make is that us constellators, so those of us who have been exposed to constellation work, are more familiar with these principles, certainly, and with these processes, I would say. But it's like now there's an opportunity, it's knowledge about like out of this circle, if you like, and that is not available constellators only those of us who are studying these principles, but that they are being actually learned by a greater number of people and by the like mainstream society. Because as you know, we have been one issue for many years, all for the knowledge that we come to through the work, that it's actually not not available to the wider community. Right? I think this is a great opportunity. I think this is what's happening now, that we see these insights breaking into, or there's certainly an opportunity, a chance for these insights to be available to a larger circle of people. So I think us constellators also have a great opportunity now to show the way a bit.
And Alemka, I'm going to restate a little bit of what you were saying and put it into like one sentence because you were breaking up a lot. I believe what you were just saying is that there's an opportunity right now for the principles that we follow in the constellation work to now be available to everyone. Pretty much. Okay. That's what I thought you were saying.
Yes.
And so actually I have a question for you, which is, how do you see that potentially happening?
I think it is happening.
Yes. Yes. And you said that too. It is happening. And do you have anything to say about how I see that too. And I'm curious about it and I'm observing it, but I see the same thing happening.
Well, it's like, you know, what we see in constellation workshops, or what we see in one constellation, you know, we can now observe it on a collective level. Like it's one big constellation happening now in the world, you know, with this crisis.
Yes.
So it's, and we are in a position to apply our systemic knowledge and the insights we got through the work, you know, to this current situation. And look, you know, all these online connections and the constellators actually breaking out of their, you know, closed workshop online. It's just So I think it's all happening.
Yes.
Yeah. But maybe we could allow for some people, if they want to comment or ask a question.
Time. Good time. So let me look here. Great. So you can go ahead, and if you have a question or a comment, or just honestly even a share about how these principles have helped you at this time or any of that, you can unmute yourself. I'm not going to unmute everyone. There's quite a few people here, and that would be loud. But you can certainly go ahead. And so let me just, I'm going to go ahead and start videos.
People can raise their hand.
Exactly. Or they can chat with me at the bottom of your bar. So this was just going to take a second here because there's about 40 people here. So
under reactions, people can go raise hand. But
actually, I would like to share something.
Yes.
If it's okay.
Yes.
Okay, I opened my video. During the meditation, it was very interesting, and something happened, and I would like to share that. It really affected me. I felt all my ancestors behind me, and all their love and their support. It was very interesting and very powerful. And I had a question, actually, and the virus actually also symbolizes during this time something came up in my life. So I thought about it, and my grandfather jumped out of the crowd, and he was very charismatic person, and he started to laugh and louder and louder, and became more fun, and basically what I asked for, and the fear and the situation that when I asked about it, it became smaller and smaller, and I felt so much relief about it. Mm-hmm. And it came to me that sometimes maybe when we face our fears with laughter and take it in from another perspective, it just gets smaller and smaller, and as you laugh, you got bigger and bigger. Mm. And that fear and that situation gets smaller and smaller. Mm. Mm. It was very powerful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you.
We can learn a lot from our ancestors.
Yeah.
And they are always here for our support.
Mm. Yeah.
So this is something, again, that us constellators are more familiar with, and this is again a resource which we can all use in this time or in times of other crises.
So basically we can use this meditation all the time?
Yes.
When we do constellation?
Yes.
You don't need a constellation to do it even. You don't need a constellation. You can just do it at home by yourself in a meditation before going to sleep, or you can talk to your ancestors.
All the time.
You can invite them to come into your dreams. You can ask them for advice. So again, this is something, it is something that we do, like often in constellations. We can do it as an intervention or constellation ritual, but actually everyone that can apply that, we can all do it in our lives. You don't need a constellation for it.
I call them inner constellations, right? And so, and actually at any moment, you know, even in a time of distress, or if I'm feeling afraid, right? At any moment, right? Immediately I can feel them behind me, you know? All of those people. That's what's so profound about that to me, right? All of those people lived through all of what they lived through. It's quite amazing, really, right? The resilience that's there that we're tapping into.
Yeah. I mean, my grandfather, it's amazing. Yeah. It's what he went through is unbelievable story. Walked when he was 5, walked all the way from Yugoslavia to Turkey. You know.
Yep.
So it's like there are things what people go through is sometimes it's so small what we go through, you know. They have incredible experience.
Yep.
Anyone else want to share or have any questions?
Yep.
Thank you.
Maybe if there are some constellators or those experience or those who know constellation work, maybe you can share some of your observations, how we can use some of the knowledge from constellations in our daily lives, or to help us or to resource us in crisis. Or anything else you want to share.
I want to, Christian wants to say something here, so.
I'm unmuted?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm a little emotional. To be here with you guys. It's amazing. Thank you, Emily. And thank you, Alemka. It's incredible. I can feel the energy, and there's so much. I'll just try to say what I wanted to say. I've been in recovery and healing all my life since I'm 18, but my life took a really huge turn in 2011 when my mother died, a violent death, and I've been doing the grief work, and through a lot of other things, I found constellation, and I have a couple of practitioners here where I live where we do constellations, and I've reached out to Emily, and I see all the videos. I go on YouTube, and I do what I can. I've had a few constellations on my own, and what happened with the meditation was that I didn't meet my paternal grandfather. He was gone by the time I was born. And my maternal grandfather was an immigrant. And I feel very connected with him, but they were both very strong in this meditation that you walked us through. And what I've been dealing for the last 9 years since my mother died is that I've been on this never-ending probate situation. And one can argue that it's about the inheritance that I didn't get, But what I've come to understand is the pain of not belonging.
Mm.
And it's excruciating. And my siblings really resent me, so they have the power to keep excluding me. My father is also gone. So in this meditation that we just had, it was so clear to me that, well, I'm also a fixer, right? I love to fix problems and stuff like that. So I haven't been able to fix this. I've had one lawyer, I had another, everything I do, it's not happening. So it gives me this huge sense of frustration and failure, which is so burdensome. But in this meditation here right now, what I got was that this idea of not belonging really came way before me. It was so much bigger than me. And I put this burden on myself to resolve it in this lifetime. And, you know, listening to Alemka say, you know, just accept what is. I think that listening to that, of course, I know that on so many levels, but I heard it a different way right now and just going through the meditation. So anyway, it's not over. This process is not over. It's ongoing. And I am a tiny little thing that I don't have the power. And so I just want to express my gratitude. And really, I'm so honored to be here with you. Thank you.
What a beautiful movement that opens up for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have, Alemka, we've got 5 minutes, just to let you know. And one thing that I'm drawn to do, Alemka, is I was taking notes while you were writing. And so if anyone wants me to just literally a list, right? Because it was so clearly put. And what you said, that we can take from this body of work right now and apply it, you know? And so I'm happy to, anyone who emails me, I'm happy to send you my notes on that, okay?
And I can include actually a few more points which I didn't get to mention, which I put into my notes, but we didn't get the time to mention. So yeah, we can add and expand a bit more on that. Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's been a good experience, and I enjoyed the conversation with you, Emily, and sharing in the presence of so many who joined us. There's clearly something very special about, you know, the community and the group of people coming together, and we, of course, we feel this energy even though we are not physically present. And again, something that we have learned and know from constellation work, that that energy doesn't know boundaries, and it does easily travel through time and through space. So it is easy to connect from all our different parts of the world. We can do it, and it's wonderful. And what is energy? I mean, love is energy, belonging is energy, you know, so, I mean, fear can be energy as well, but it's, hopefully we can share a bit more of loving feelings, not excluding the fears, but it's again, another lesson from constellation work. We are all connected, and it's so easy to feel this connection, this oneness across time and space. We can do it in constellation work. We can do it in online meetings, and we all feel it. And I think it's a marvelous gift and of this life and the world and the universe that we inhabit. So we need to be using more of it, you know. And I think we are waking up to that. Yeah, let's use it. Let's use all these possibilities and our own abilities, because they are what we are aware of right now.
Yes.
So I really
so available
appreciate.
right now.
So I appreciate this meeting again as a just sign of that, and another reminder of that. So let's keep reminding ourselves of that, all of us.
So we're planning on having these, we need to talk about the logistics, but we're planning on having these, you know, regularly, hopefully. And so I'll just we'll both send out dates, and you're welcome. And I'm guessing in a similar format, right? Where there might be a theme and we do a meditation and then questions and answers or shares. But so precious every time I'm in one of these meetings. I cannot help but immediately reflect on the incredible fortune that we are sitting here right now in a safe, right? Each of us is safe, and we're connected, and we have food, and we have water, and we somehow amazingly have this life where we can take an hour of our life to do nothing more than this, right? How precious is that? How rare, actually. Yeah.
Yes, and we have our traumas. We also have our traumas and our fears and our pain, and that's all wonderful, isn't it? It all belongs to us. So it's great that we can experience all of that.
So that's time, everyone. It goes really quick. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Alemka.
Thank you, Emily, for organizing this. Thank you, everyone, for joining and listening, and hope to see you again in cyberspace somewhere.
Yes, and send us your emails, and then I will send you the information, okay, that me and Alemka talked about putting together. Yeah, it's important. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.